This is ridiculous, disgusting mud on my white Vans. Welcome to an in-car camera winter in Germany. It's a different kind of a story, I'll tell you that. Welcome to another episode of the Supercar Diaries, and welcome in another electric car. Thank you so much, first and foremost, to Porsche Center Olympia Park in Munich, Triebstraße number 37, for giving us this Porsche Taycan 4S Cross Turismo. We're out here in Munich because I left the car to charge at Porsche so I can get it with a full battery and then have enough time to do some driving around, as well as go and do a POV run, see if we can get the top speed out of this car on the Autobahn. Let's enjoy a little drive in this car because it's got a little X factor. You see, the thing is, this is not just your normal Taycan. Yeah, it's not just the 4S, it's the Cross Turismo bit. So you got the same kind of four-wheel drive system that you have in the Taycan 4S. But this car, well, a lot of it has been kitted out in such a way so that where the normal Taycan has to pull over, this one really starts to excel. It's actually made to go on the roads less traveled, as we said, dirt roads. They might as well have called it the Taycan 4S Dirt, because I absolutely love what Porsche have done just to get you into the feel of this being a different kind of Taycan. Right here is a button called Gravel, and if you press that, well, then the personality of the car changes a bit. Not so much in the driving experience from the amount of power it gives you like you'd get from Sport Plus, but rather in the fact that it raises itself with a ground clearance of nearly 15 centimeters in total, giving you that bit of extra room just to go on your favorite roads that you've never quite been in a Porsche Taycan. I mean, is this not just the perfect little, oh my sack of nuts. Okay, perfect little playground. This is not planned. No. This is just me mucking about. Okay, hang on a second. Gravel. Now the air suspension shows me in a picture here. It's picking up, goes front, back, front, back, front, back. So now we've got a maximum ground clearance of nearly 15 centimeters. I think it's about 14.7. And we're just gonna go about it very relaxed. I mean, there are a couple of holes in here. You can see that because there's water in here. Oh my gosh, they just washed this car. Oh, I hope they're not gonna nail me for this. But anyways, so here we go. This is already not something that you're gonna be doing in a normal Taycan. That's for sure. I don't even know if I'm allowed to drive it. Who cares? But how cool is this? It just absolutely eats through these things. Yes, these are just little minuscule puddles. People probably staring at me thinking like, what on earth is this idiot doing with a Porsche driving through the puddles? But who cares? Let's just do state the point. By this time now, in a normal Taycan or in a normal supercar for that matter, you'd probably be scraping off heaps of earth from the front lip. You'd be ordering your extra little bits and pieces of carbon fiber that's now laying in the field at the back. But not in the Cross Turismo. And the cool thing about it is that you still have the exact same performance platform than you actually do in the 4S. And because it's in the off-road mode, you say, well, it's got those capabilities. It's probably not really that good anymore in the performance sector. Probably a couple of things not really that great anymore. You've kind of added the quality of being able to drive off-road, but now you've robbed it of its Porsche characteristics. Oh, but no. So let's talk first about the performance. Comparing this with a 93.4 kilowatt hour battery, that's the performance battery plus, to exactly the same one that you get in the Taycan 4S with the performance battery plus. This one will get you to 100 kilometers per hour using the Sports Chrono package and launch control in 4.1 seconds. That is but a tenth of a second slower than what you would achieve in the Taycan 4S. Top speed, the Taycan 4S is only 10 kilometers per hour faster than this one. The weight, because you think if it's off-road capable, then probably the chances that they've added a whole bunch of things and now, well, quite frankly, it's just heavy. Because that's generally what happens, isn't it? No, that's not the case with this car. Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, it weighs 35 kilograms more than the Taycan 4S, which really isn't going to break your back. And as we just saw by the performance figures, it absolutely doesn't. I think it's a fantastic little curveball that they've put in there. And I think it's a lovely car with the extra quality of being able to, well, do that. Let's have a closer look at this Taycan 4S Cross Turismo. Thought it'd be a nice thing to just park it in this sort of bushy setting over here. The car is growing on me, the looks. It's the familiar Taycan nose that we all recognize, especially with the standing lights on there. Sort of quad light look here in the front, unmistakable with a sort of cheetah tear, if you actually want to have a look at that. The cheetah tears. Cheetahs, they're the cats that run really fast. They got those black lines under here, similar to that, which gives it that sort of distinct look. But this is, of course, the Cross Turismo, which means that it is the Taycan with off-road capabilities. And I love this car for that. The nose down at the front, the lip, that's distinctly different. It's got this sort of more off-road looking, like with this concaves in here, or the cavities in there, this front lip. And then, of course, these two air inlets over there, and you think like, well, it doesn't have an engine, so why do you need those? Well, the battery needs cooling, and depending on your driving mode and the speed and all that, they also actually open and close. You can see that this car is also made to ride a little bit higher here in the front, so that you don't have a lip that really does that sort of downforce thing when driving fast, but rather also offers the fact that it kind of, a lot of traffic up here. As I was saying, there's the lip in the front. Looks a little bit more off-roady than sort of what you get in a carbon fiber one and one of our F8s or so. And it's also built in a fashion that you can actually tackle the off-road when the car's in higher mode. Come around this way a little bit. The cheetah tears that we talked about before, they're actually not just for the looks, but they let air in over there that goes through the wheel arch over here and then exits again on this side over there. These are actually functional. The air moves right through there, and you can also see that because the mud goes through there as well. I love the rims on this car. I think it fits it very well. You can let me know down in the comments what you like about that. It's got massive tires on here. And then, excuse the sniffing, this is the lowest mode. I put it into Sport Plus at the moment, so it's just sitting as low as it can. And then the cool thing about this car, of course, the fact that once you hit the gravel button, it can lift up. I think the correct amount is about 14.7, so nearly 15 centimeters ground clearance that you can have in this, which means you can actually, as you see, we have been driving through some puddles and things. Then also, the covers that you have on the side, it's not just the front, and really stretches all around here. The wheel arches down on the side skirts, and I love the same sort of shiny bits that you have in the front lip. You have that here on the side, and it looks super cool. Maybe just have a look here. The side skirts really go up all into the well over there, so you don't have to worry too much when you get in and your shoes are slightly dirty. That part is all still safe and won't get full of sand and mud and stuff. Well, the side skirt will, because that's what it's supposed to be. That continues around the back, same thing over here, and then also at the rear. But I think what we're going to do is turn the car around so we can actually have a look at what the back sounds like, what it looks like. So I'm talking about what it sounds like purely because it doesn't sound like anything, as you're about to hear. Now, how about marrying off-road capabilities with a sports car, maybe even a car with similar characteristics to a supercar? You probably think, well, both of those has to scream that you're losing a lot of your economy. I've got to be careful not to say that, you empty your tank quicker because you don't have one. But let's talk about the battery. So let's just use the terminology consumption. If I'm driving off-road with this car, and with all the added thingamajigs, which ends up being only 35 kilograms more, then quite frankly, my economy should actually be atrocious. Well, as a matter of fact, it's not. It's actually the opposite. If you take the figures that we get from the WLTP, who's the guy who's doing all the testing, and under ideal conditions, need to say that bit, of course, then they say that the Taycan 4S Cross Turismo, this car here with the Performance Battery Plus, will get you in town a lot further than it would actually on the open road, because it uses less juice, so to say. In town, they say, ideal conditions, a full charge can get you between 462 and 532 kilometers of range. On the open road, it's 355. Of course, depending on the speed and so on and so forth, and the temperature. Right now, I think you're going to get a bit less because it's just so cold. I can't imagine that battery being totally happy with this kind of a temperature. Anyways, the fantastic thing with the Taycan 4S with the Performance Battery Plus is that on a 270 kilowatt hour charger, you can charge the battery from 5% all the way to 80% in 22.5 minutes. Now, the base model of this car, the 4S, is going to be yours for 111,000 euros. But then once you start ticking boxes on the I'd like to have that list, which they've done profusely on this car, it's got the sports chrono package, it's got this magnificent panoramic glass roof, it has leather interior. I mean, it's just been kitted out to the brim. This one costs 157,000 euros. So, how exciting was that? initially it's a bit of a problem when you used to cars making loud noises, or for example, we're at Novitec and we're into the business of just exhilarating the emotion that the car gives you, and then you get into this and it's just like, it's like zen. It's like, so just sit there in peace and quiet, which is also part of why I wanted to come out here into the Alps and do this here, because the elements of nature come together. The Porsche Taycan 4S Cross Turismo from behind. Great looking car in my opinion. The perspective from here is probably my favorite because the hips are so nice and wide and they come up into the sort of darkish silhouette, because this car, as we said, has got a couple of extras ticked in the I'd like to have list box, and one of that is the panoramic glass roof, which looks black on the outside but it's beautiful because the whole thing on the inside, you can just look up there, darkened glass, and then of course with these blackened out what do you call these things, roof rails. It doesn't have, as far as I know, an active rear wing, but it does have this little spoiler here at the back, which looks good. As you can see, electric cars, no funny looking exhaust pipes perking out there, but you got quite the diffuser at the back over there. And when you kneel down ever so slightly, you can see just how it curves towards the top. One last thing, it doesn't look very clean in here, but there's a boot space. With all our equipment in here, we haven't even used half of the possibilities for it. Heaps of speed, heaps of space in the boot, heaps of speed in the boot. No, I do not sell drugs. One of the favorite things on this car, we see now with many Audis as well, Porsches, just that straight through rear light. I think it looks great, especially at night. You can leave this car in the forest, nice and foggy, and then have that beautiful light at the back. That's enough said. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Let me know what you think about this Porsche. Let me know what you think about the fact that you now have an electric car that can actually go off-road. And it's a Porsche, which means you got all that power when you get off the road. And that means fun, like this. I think there's one more thing to do, and that's of course to go into Sport Plus mode and then do a launch control, just because we can. So hold, launch control, and oh, mother. I'm happy to report that even though it has a gravel mode button over there, it loses none of the feisty electric power ability to just shunt that straight from the back of your spine into tomorrow and carting you along with it. Mother. I'm going to actually just stop here where you probably wouldn't stop with any other car. Guys, it's been an absolute tremendous pleasure having you with me today. Thank you for joining me, and if you haven't yet, feel free to subscribe to our channel, like this video, drop us some comment. What kind of EV would tickle your fancy, if at all? Let me know about that as well. Would love to know where you guys are sort of at. Would you consider it? And if so, then what? Then again, you can follow us on Instagram as well, me personally, Beyond the Cook, or the Novitec group, yes. And you can also pay a visit to Porsche Center Olympia Park. If anybody out there is interested in a Porsche, if you're in the Bayern vicinity or close to Munich, then feel free, pop into Porsche Center Olympia Park. The guys will take care of you. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Porsche Center Olympia Park. Until next time, keep safe. In my electric Porsche. I need a rifle now. This is a perfect hunting car. Just put the window down softly. They wouldn't even know I'm coming. Nope. Zoom in my Taycan, driving through the bushes, through the water.